To kick off this channel, I'll be giving a little bit background as to who I am and how I got to this position. My name is Utsav and I am an extremely camera-shy software engineer who's worked with various technologies like space tech, marine tech, websites, embedded systems, and automation testing. And I finally decided to turn on my vlogging camera and make this video. Now, in your head, you probably think the most obvious reason would be the AI disruption in tech, but no, that's actually a secondary reason. I'll get to that in a bit because I feel there's a lot of fear-mongering on the internet, and there's two kinds of people. One is saying everyone should become a creative entrepreneur because all jobs will be replaced, and then there's the other side which says that jobs are here to stay. AI is only here to make us more productive. I'm gonna address both these sides for you. But the main reason why I decided to finally do this is because outside of my job, I was always a bit of a creative person. Music was my most natural expression, and it often made me see things about myself that I did not consciously know. Songs would just flow out of me. So I got into performing on stage, joined Toastmasters, took an improv comedy class, did a few musical comedy shows, and gave talks on philosophy, neuroscience, psychology, and music all combined. In fact, I actually have a second channel called The Musical Philosopher Raw, where you can see some of these talks that I did. And this was also the time I was spending a lot of time on YouTube, exploring these topics, especially psychology topics on emotional regulation with techniques like NLP, which stands for Neuro-Linguistic Programming. You can reprogram your subconscious mind via different techniques, which I found really fascinating. And then your brain structure literally changes. There's the neuroscience behind that. I came across this other YouTuber called Dan Ko. He's a philosophical creative entrepreneur who actually takes these things, all these things that I talked about, except music, and he shows people that they could start personal brands combining their multiple interests and solving problems. So that just flipped a switch in me, but I was also procrastinating for 3 years before I actually turned on the camera today. And the second guy I came across was Sahil Bloom. He's an American Indian entrepreneur, famous for his book, The 5 Types of Wealth, which I'll talk about along with the AI disruption perspective I have. It'll all come full circle. So to address the AI disruption happening in tech and jobs all over, I urge the viewer to completely ignore what the public is saying and just ask yourself these questions. If jobs are going to be replaced by AI completely and everyone has to become an entrepreneur, who am I going to make money off? Real human beings, right? Even businesses, whether you do B2C or B2B, money is ultimately in the hands of real people, right? Unless you're going to come to an age where we have AI citizen robots. And there's actually an example which was, I think, a decade old in the Middle East. A woman called Sophia, first AI citizen of the world. And I think she was given a Saudi Arabian passport, if I'm not wrong, but you can look her up. That idea just seems really far-fetched, to be honest. And then the other side of the coin Ask yourself these questions. AI is just going to help us become more productive. It's not here to replace us. Well, at the exponential rate it's growing right now, do you really think that your job, will you not be forced to change careers, or will you have to really compete with people for like a particular role? Right? As you can see, there's uncertainty on both sides. And when it comes to excitement and living a adventurous life, uncertainty is amazing, right? But when it comes to your paycheck and building wealth, heck no. Right? The only certainty right now you have is you got to take action, develop the skills that will generate you wealth today. Cannot afford to waste time. And this is where the 5 types of wealth, that book, gave me a wake-up call. Starting with the first kind, which I think is the most important kind of wealth needed to develop the other kinds of wealth, is social wealth, is the people you know, your family and friends. You need skills to actually make connections, social skills. Then above this, you have, with the help of social skills and wealth, you know, the people you know can give you a job. And if you're not as competent as the other people, if they like you, and you've seen this happen and again, way more talented people being passed up for people who are not as good, purely because of their social skills and earning higher salaries. So they have what it takes to build financial wealth. And then when you have financial wealth, you can invest in all the other kinds of wealth. Let's say you have physical wealth, which basically means you have the freedom to move as you please, and say even do a handstand maybe at the age of 50 or hike up a mountain, right? You wouldn't want to trade places with Warren Buffett. He would probably give you all his money to trade places with him. You have time wealth. Ask yourself, do you want to spend your time as you please with the ones you love, right? That, I'd say 99% of people will say yes to that question. So time wealth is unlocked by developing social wealth and financial wealth. And in turn, physical wealth, because if you're bedridden, well, you cannot actually do much. And then if you have time wealth, the most important part's unlocked, which is mental wealth. Psychological freedom from all these problems. Obviously, a lot of these problems that we have are self-created, and you can nip a lot of them in the bud if you wanted to, and reduce the amount of self-created problems. But there's obviously real problems as to what's going to happen in the future, the economy. You can't change that. So this is why I'm here to start a movement to help camera-shy people like you and me, introverts, creatives, even musicians. I've got a soft spot to them, to start personal brands to make a living. And if you don't want to be an entrepreneur, this channel will help you at least have the social skills so that you can compete for the jobs you want out there. Because, yeah, it comes back to my question. If everyone becomes an entrepreneur, obviously I can't make money off anyone, right? So if any of this resonates with you, I'll be using my multiple skill sets and in skill sets and knowledge in psychology, philosophy, neuroscience, music, to solve problems you face. This would also be a learning experience and a documentary of helping you guys. If it resonates, subscribe, and I'll also be having a community with this in the comment section below. Completely free, where we can stay in touch. There'll be weekly insights by me, and with enough people, I'm even considering if I could maybe do a live stream once a week, where we could see where we're at. Are we developing the skills required to build personal brands or make connections in real life? And another thing I want to talk about YouTube is it's a search engine. Actually, maybe I think it's the second most used search engine. So any social media platform that also would be classified as a search engine is basically the S&P 500, if you know the stock market of content. Blog websites like Substack, Medium. And if you don't want to show your face, long-form content is a must right now for personal branding. And you can see there's a surge in these, and at least on YouTube, where like it's the algorithms favoring people who start educational, informational content, and authenticity is being rewarded more than ever. So this will be me showing up as authentically as I can, and in turn help you guys say that if I can do it, you can do it too. I'll see you guys soon.